Uh, this. There we go. All right. That should be better. Hopefully people can actually hear me. I'm hoping. Sort of. Up. There we go. YouTube's working again. Yay! It works. Kinda, sorta. We'll see. Better. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. Not sure what was going on with it. Something goofy, I'm sure. Wasn't trying. Huh? Okay, that's not accurate. That is not accurate. Whatever this is streaming, I have no idea. What in the world is it saying I'm streaming? Wow, that's really interesting. Claiming I'm streaming Metro Prime. I am not. That's worse. Not accurate. This is not accurate. That's better. Now it actually says what it's supposed to be. That's better. Hope everyone's doing great. Finally got the computer working properly, so it's not losing its mind. For some reason. I have no idea what was going on with it. Went crazy for some reason. Huh. That was definitely interesting. Trying to get this hunk of junk working. I'm going to delete the older. All right. That's working finally. 4 out of 5's not. All right. We're good. We're up. We're active. Or more or less. As many people have heard right now, my video that I released, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? No, it was about a week ago. I released a YouTube video, a short, that said we shouldn't, take things out of proportion. Well, I can confidently say PIG really pissed off a lot of people. And while I agree the gray market is a problem, some people will disagree with me on that. I will also say we could have used a 30-day grace period or something, to be decent about it. I'm sorry. Just springing this on us was not a good move by CIG. And basically not a good look, if I'm going to be honest. Normally, I don't boo hoo and cry, but this move seriously made me question who's in charge. I mean, to be blunt, I'm sure a lot of other people will agree with me. What happened was not great at all. The way they handled it, not good. People could say, well, that's basically crying about it. Yeah, I spent $12K on this over 7 years. So for them to rip and tear this rug out from underneath me, yeah, I'm gonna be a little talks about it a bit. I don't normally complain, but This made me really angry. I also am angry for newer players coming into the verse who probably had no idea this was going on. Do any of you all have packages you've melted like me that are no longer accessible? For me, I have the Entrepreneur and the Scoundrel pack that are no longer usable. I can't grab them, can't buy them, nothing. Also, the Dominus and a couple of others. I'd like to hear your opinion. For real, I'm frustrated that they did this. Feels like a slap in the face to people who spent basically built their company. But yeah, during the course of tonight, I'd like to hear from some of the greater community what they think. What do you all think of this issue with CIG? I'm not happy about it. I'm sure a lot of you aren't. Yeah, I am aware of that, Rufus. It was never supposed to be a forever bank. That's the thing. It was never intended to be a forever bank. The heads up would have been nice, yeah. What can you do though? Right? Yeah. Yeah. But in hindsight, I see why they did it. Maybe the shock would scare a lot of the gray market ghouls off, but we'll never know, really. I don't think it scared them off, though, so to speak. Which is fine, you know. They're actually preparing for a Squadron 40 release sales for it, which is fair. I get that. Yeah. Yeah, that's the big assumption going on right now. Yeah, that's my guess too, dude. That's what's really going on. Yeah. Yeah, also, before I get into the video, Rofus, well, come to think of it, let's go ahead and get into the video because that's what everybody wants to do. let's go ahead and get into it. So what we're going to do, pull this up. All right, we're going to go to this. Okay. So, we're going to blow this up. Window code. There we go. Listen. All right, here we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live. And if you have any questions, Seb, that part doesn't go on YouTube. Just from here.
No, don't worry.
Okay.
I'm your host, Jared. And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where normally I know my own name. They told me before I had to move
I
my
have an
heartburn
echo.
medication.
Never mind.
Like, don't tell people you have heartburn. It's still there.
Never mind. Chat,
It's
never
about
mind.
it's about where play the title sequence.
Okay, can you
Like
still
that sequence
hear
on the
me,
do-over, Jared?
Rufus?
Go ahead. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. If you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take an hour out of our program. Nope. Look, we put up a thread, and we asked you for questions about inventory and crafting. You guys came with questions about inventory crafting. And then these three guys, let's show them. They went through that thread, and they picked a 26
Okay,
that they wanted to talk about today. They put them on a list. They made some notes. Some of us have the notes printed up, so make sure we don't forget stuff. And now we're here to talk to you and answer your questions. Joining us on the show this week, Rick. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hello, I'm Rick Porter. I'm the design director at CIG. I work both on Star Citizen and Squadron 42, but mostly lately I've been focusing on the design for Star Citizen and getting one release out after another in the last couple of years.
Yeah. 11 releases last year. Yeah.
Pretty proud of that, honestly.
Yeah. Only because you're next to him. Yeah. I just no. Because you don't bring me baked goods. Declan, tell everybody who you are and what you want to do.
Yeah, my name's Declan or Dec, system designer, so it involves helping design systems and then maintain them once they're out live, such as crafting. Yeah.
Which is one of the things we're talking about.
Which is very convenient for this show.
We didn't plan that at all.
No.
And Torsten, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Torsten, I'm his manager, and he's my manager.
It's appropriate that you're sitting in between us.
Yeah.
So you see the way the crap flows. So the subject of today's show is crafting and inventory. In our latest major release, 4.7, nobody nodded. They were just completely oblivious.
That's the previous one.
Ignored
We
Jared.
introduced a first iteration of crafting
4.71.
to the Precision universe, where we begin this long journey of putting greater agency and control of the player experience into the hands of those people who play the game, or don't play the game. They just watch the shows and make unfortunate comments. Also, we updated crafting with a big interface update for crafting and whatnot. So, like I said, let's get the questions. Zerator says Jared. Yes, Zerator. You took up 5 lines in Twitch chat. I'll stop the whole show. What do you want? Yeah, it's going to be that kind of show. You didn't know this? You didn't know this by this point? It's going to be that kind of show. Nothing. Zerator is suspiciously quiet now. All right. So let's jump into the questions we got. These are in no particular order. Right off the bat, will we be able to increase quality of a material? And this is a big thing because in 4.7, not just crafting come online, but a major change to all materials where now it's not just, hey, I'm grabbing iron and hey, I'm grabbing aluminum. I almost said aluminium because I've been here 4 years. Now you have to search for varying qualities and get the best qualities and stuff. Will we be able to increase the quality of such material?
Yeah, start with a hot question. Current plan is no. You won't be able to increase the quality of the material, and there's a few aspects that go into that. Firstly, we would like rare materials and valuable materials to remain rare and valuable. Concern being that if I can take a large chunk of low quality, condense it into high quality, given enough time, players will have high quality everything. And that greatly devalues the future play trading opportunities, where we really want to see the scenario of a player finds a super high rare, high value ore deposit, and perhaps on their player base they've set up a shop, and then you have people coming to your shop and like buying from you, and you get to interact with them and so on. The second part is there is a need for the lower and mid quality to have greater value. At the moment, because it's bigger number is better, everyone's searching for the high quality. So to resolve this, our plan is with the refining updates that you will have 2 ingredients for when you're refining. One of them will be a primary, 2 or more, it could be 2 or more to be fair, 2 or more could be secondary. And the quality of the secondary determines how much of it you need, whereas the primary is the quality of the primary is used for the refined material. So if it's iron, we always go for the steel example. So
right.
If you're making steel, primary is iron, 750 quality iron makes 750 steel. Carbon, the quality is not too important. So you can get a massive amount of carbon, however much you need, of terrible quality, shove it in and get your steel.
So the value in the lower quality stuff will be in using it to get a greater quantity.
Not quantity, it's just for the secondary inputs, you need less of it if it's high quality, but you can still use any quality.
Okay.
So you can farm up loads and just shove it in as secondary.
So there's a purpose for the lower quality. And it's, to be very honest, it's something that we discuss a lot, discussed a lot, if we want to go down this road. And as Deck already described, one of the main reasons why we want to stick with this approach of you not being able to upgrade the materials is that we still want you to search for higher grades, that we don't want you to hoard lower grades, because at some point you will be able to upgrade. And for that reasons, we came up with some solutions of making the lower quality actually worthwhile to holding onto them, especially then once we have the refining process in.
Yeah, and we want, when you find those really high level ones, we want that to be exciting. We want that to feel like a moment. And if you could just get higher easy, you would dilute that experience.
Plus, it's good. It seems to me like you're finding a nice compromise here then between, for the people who gather casually, there's a path, there's a useful for the stuff, for the lesser quality stuff they get. But for the people who dedicate themselves, like I am going to be a miner, that is my job. because you're going to keep those higher resources more valuable, that effort is going to be more rewarding to those people because they're going to be able to sell that stuff to.
Exactly, that is the point, because with that we open up the opportunities for players to sell it, right? If every player is able to upgrade their materials, then like we swamp the market with a high quality.
Of course, that relies on player trading, and we've got to get there at some point. There's a question. We'll wait until we get to the question. I don't remember what number it was. It's number 2. Player trading.
How convenient.
I lied when I said there's no rhyme or reason to this. I just forgot. Player trading is a much needed feature now that we have crafting. Any news on that?
Yes and no. It's something that's really important to me in particular. Like I got on stage at CitCon a couple of years ago and talked about how important I think the player-driven economy can be, especially now that we're finally getting crafting out. Like if you can't do player trading, it's not what I want it to be. So going to get there as fast as possible. We've got to balance it against some other things like social features and so forth. But what we want to do is give players a space in the world, taking advantage of the trade centers that we already have in locations where you can go there and you can take anything in your local inventory and put it on the local net and pick your price and sell it for what you want. Or, you know, what anybody else there that's done the same, you can buy their stuff and get what you need. So we have those actual in-world commercial centers. And then eventually we'll have player places, base building, where you can do that locally and build your own town. So
I'm glad you mentioned social right there. That is the precursor to this. The work that Benoit and his team are doing on developing social tools, which I don't think anybody that's ever played Star Citizen for more than 5 minutes will argue is not incredibly important and incredibly needed. The work that they're doing on social lays the groundwork. It's a necessary foundation for then building player trading.
Social tools needs to be done.
Communicate to people
soon,
and before you can start player trading.
Like,
so
super
the social
soon.
tools are what their focus on is on right now. And the new inventory has had a lot of the same problems that we're seeing with the old inventory, such as slow load times and poor quality images. Are there plans to resolve this?
Yes. So,
all right, next question.
Don't laugh. So for the images, there's a handful of initiatives underway. There's no anti-aliasing on the images, so that's one of the things we're going to look into add in. There is improvements to the framing. You'll see some things that see zoomed out, zoomed in compared to the box. There is lighting and shadows, and then for the responsiveness and the snappiness, it's work in progress. It is our desire to have it instant. So
I saw something. I'm in a number of chats where for visibility and I saw there was a big conversation. They found a big cause, not the only cause, and there's never only one source for something, but they made a nice big leap in some discovery earlier this week, and I wish I could remember what the heck it was now before I opened my mouth. I just assumed I would remember by the time I got to the point, and I don't. But yeah, they are currently making progress.
Yeah, there's a lot of work going to making the inventory the best we can.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, I think Pete just saw me put my hand in my mouth. He's like, I got it before you put your light on. Yeah. It's hard. It never quite seemed like it goes fast enough. That thing never goes as fast as we want it to. But mining is currently quite tedious due to only wanting to search for high quality materials. Are there plans? We ended up going into this answer with the first answer.
And I think the other part of the answer to that is like the question is like, all I'm finding is boring stuff. Where's the excitement? It's like we will balance that over time. If we're not supplying enough for the players to like feel satisfaction in that process, if we're not supplying enough for the doing to have a good crafting environment, we will adjust the balance of what we think gets to a good place for both the economy and to make sure that all the other game systems come together for a fun environment.
For that, we are even like monitoring all the rates that we see drop. So we are adjusting. So for every patch cycle, the numbers might change a bit, so that we're getting to a range where the material that the players will find is actually like meaningful and has a purpose for them. Yep. But I wouldn't call mining tedious.
Well, it depends. Not every game loop is going to be for every person, and we don't know the person who said this. For some people, it will be tedious.
Yeah,
But
But it should also be exciting for the people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
no, if you
Yeah,
don't want to
mining's
make
already
something that
pretty
if you make
tedious.
something that's for everybody, it's a little too
Hate to
broad.
say
It's a little too broad. It's a little too uninteresting and whatnot. It's, you want to make something that's engaging, and some people are going to take to it, and some people are not. One of the things you said about we were going to continue to balance is, I think anybody that's followed the project long enough can attest.
Oh, I've been
that
in it for
we
7
continuously
years
evolve.
alone.
We put a thing out,
been
and
around
then we
quite
change
a
it,
while.
and then we
Not
change
as
it,
long
and we
as
get
some-
feedback, and we change it
some
again, and we get feedback and change it. That's part of developing a game with an open environment like we do. Mining alone, since we're talking about mining, let's just use that, has evolved so much from that initial release. So crafting will do the same. Crafting will do the same, and mining will continue to do the same, and stuff like this. So I think that's been borne out over the years. So. Is the purchase of materials of various qualities other than 0 from in-game locations like mining outposts being considered?
Yes. So
I did not sure I understood the question.
so at the moment when a
You wrote
shop
the
sells
answer.
a resource, I've wrote the answer and just stuck people's names on it. So
Oh,
that's the secret. At the moment, shops sell resources at 0 just because that's the
Oh, right.
default. It's just a tech limitation.
Yeah, it's just where we landed for the release.
They'll end up selling materials that are
Getting an
quality. They won't sell
echo.
the super high quality stuff. And equally, if you sell good quality to a shop, it'll pay more. But the best deal is probably going to be on the player trade market because that's where
Yeah.
people have the most money.
Yeah. We'll have a market with multiple quality values. You'll be able to go there and pay more for higher quality and less for lower quality. And the same vice versa. If you want to sell your own stuff, you'll get more for higher quality and less for lower quality. That's absolutely the design, and we'll get there. We just couldn't get there last release.
But what Dex said is that, and I want to highlight that, is that we really want to have player trading standing out in comparison to trading with NPCs. So we want to make sure that, sure, you will be finding like different qualities from NPC traders, but your source should be, or we want to encourage you to actually trade with players there.
And eventually it'll all be tied together. Like whenever a player's trading to another player, we'll be tracking that and adding it to the overall simulation. We've talked about having StarSim, the simulation that knows everything that the players are doing, plus all the things that we're expecting the NPCs to do.
Yeah.
So that when players buying stuff for one price, that is reflected in the NPC prices as well.
Yeah.
so I lost it. I lost it from the chat. There was a question from the chat. We just put out crafting. We just put out the first version of crafting. How are you guys feeling about it right now?
Deck did a really good job there. he pulled all the things together and motivated the teams working on it. So definitely kudos to Deck.
Yeah, we asked Deck to do a lot at the last minute, but like the whole team came together. Like
For sure.
Yeah, like it's the first step. Like there's a lot more that we want to do with crafting, but just getting that first tier of crafting out felt really good. It's that first step, that we needed to take to get it into players' hands to start iterating on it, and we've got a long ways to go. But there's a lot of cool features coming, and yeah.
It was nice seeing like the avalanche of feedback. You saw some people, they wanted X, Y, Z to be improved. You saw people crafting guns that were 900 quality, and then there was a helmet that was bugged that I had to fix, which I was a bit annoyed when out.
I think that
it was very nice to see go out.
it even helped internally because the people working on it were all motivated to get this feature in a really good quality because they themselves are either a fan of crafting or are really like fan of tying things together in our game. So that definitely helped a lot.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there are people who are going to have dissenting opinions. They're obviously always going to be someone who doesn't like how mining works or how crafting works or how whatever. What would you say to people who just wash their hands of the entire system right now? Just, I don't like any of this. I wish you'd made Star Wars Galaxies. Just make Star Wars Galaxies, please.
Oh God,
I think
come
Ahazi.
on.
Ahazi. Shout out to Ahazi.
I think it's pretty early to wipe your hands of it. Like we've got a long ways to go, both in crafting itself and the other features that are going to support crafting. Yeah, it's too early to tell, I would say. This is absolutely just our first step out the door. And while it's really cool to see what players can already do with it, we're far from done.
We did release a crafting guide alongside, and the crafting guide had a wonderful section at the bottom, not just dedicated to everything that was in this one, but a look to a whole lot of things that are already in development for the future. I mean, it's not even everything. There were a couple of things. Anything that was like, well, we might whatever. We struck them out. We stuck with a pretty short list of the things that we were pretty confident on, and it's an impressive list of stuff coming. If you haven't seen the crafting guide and checked out the section at the bottom of where crafting is going, I would suggest you check it out. There's some good stuff in there.
Good job writing that deck. At the 11th hour, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
No, we
At
worked
that
on
review.
So
Yeah, that's funny.
there's crafting, then there's inventory. Now, obviously we put this new inventory front end on, but one of the big issues that the crafting update made was all the material updates made and all the qualities of all the materials of different quality have basically put a whole lot of stuff in players' inventories now. How are we addressing this?
There's a couple of things in the work for the quality itself, which will help with the bloats. And then, as you mentioned, the crafting guide, there's some inventory adjustments and management tools. The first one is kind of like a folder structure. So if you have 20 variants of copper, they'll be inside a folder. You click the folder and then you'll see your 20. So as you're scrolling through the freight elevator, your inventory, it'll look much cleaner until you want to dive in and see all the details. The second one is merging and splitting. So merging, people have like half-empty boxes they're hauling all over the place. They would, if they're low quality or you're not too bothered to keeping them separate, you could just stick them all together. The quality would average out based on the SCU weights. And then splitting is kind of the obvious opposite, where you take part of a box and turn it into two boxes, and that's crucial for player trading, right? You don't want to put all your high quality up for sale. You want to take half of it and put it up for sale, or maybe you want to share it but sell it.
So this is more about, like, if you have a 60 SCU crate, you convert it into 2 8 SCU crates, or like into several 1 SCU crates. So you basically split up the volume into smaller chunks. So in comparison to the merging, this will leave the quality unaffected, right? So just create new containers holding the same material.
And I'm going to ask the question that Chad is going to be asking right now, and you don't have to look at it. Why wasn't something like that in the first release then? If you know you're going to flood the inventory system with all these new materials, with all these varying qualities, why wasn't merge and split and stuff like that in the first release?
But we have to release at some point, don't we?
Yeah. How long do we want to wait on release for all the features that we have planned? If we waited on every little feature that we want to have be part of the system, like, it would take us so much longer to get anything out into players' hands, and it would just slow down the iteration overall.
Yeah, back to 6 months waiting for the next patch.
Yep. It's hard. It's hard because if we waited for everything, we'd never release anything. That's just, there's a reason why some games go 6 months between major releases, or even longer and stuff. They go completely quiet. We are putting new stuff out almost every 2 weeks at this point. Now, and
Yeah,
it's
no,
because
this
we
is
get
getting
feedback on the stuff we
ridiculous.
have. It's like we need that feedback on the stuff we have. We need that testing on the stuff that we have, because we might learn something about the stuff we have that directly affects the stuff that we're waiting for. And better to know that while we're still working on this than finish this and go, oh, I wish I had known this earlier. If only I had put what we had out earlier, that information could have informed this. There's a whole lot of reasons why we operate a live environment in the middle of our game development. It's beneficial in a lot of ways, and it's annoying. and you should look at me like, it is annoying to have to put out a feature and it needs merging and splitting. It's just not ready.
I'll never be happy with any feature we put out. It'll never be complete, but it'll be as good as I can get in the time and resources that I have. That's me being a perfectionist. That's nothing against the game.
Yeah.
Well, now it's going to be a meme on Reddit.
Well,
It'll be a nice square picture of Rick Porter that says, "I'll never be happy with anything I release."
that's sure. It's truth. I'll take it. That's me being a perfectionist. That's not an indictment of anything else.
So what's the plan? I skipped way ahead. So what's the plan for crafting large items that obviously won't fit in the current fabricator?
So with the current fabricator, we had a specific format that we were going for.
Yep.
That's our first version. In the future, we're going to have the ability to craft directly into local storage with that initial fabricator, so that you'll have options to craft larger items in the near future. And then longer term with base building, we'll have hangar crafting, and we'll have intermediate steps in ship crafting as well as locations. So there's lots planned to like expand your options of size in crafting.
Yeah. Crafting into the local inventory is one of those things that we're listed on that.
And crafting local inventory is more of a stopgap until we can bring those other features into the game. So I don't think that'll be a permanent solution, but it'll be a way for us to start iterating on our larger crafting before we have those other features available.
Hey, Torsten, will mining modules and gadgets ever be craftable?
Yes, like most of or a lot of items that we will have, or we already have in our game, all of them will be craftable at some point, and we will make sure that most of the items, or actually every item that is craftable, actually is affected by the quality of the materials that you use for it, so that there is a meaningful reason for you actually to craft those items. And for 4.8, we are already like expanding our catalog of craftable items. So we are expanding it to ship components, and those will also be affected by the stat improvements that you get from the quality. So you will be able to craft, correct me if I'm wrong, Dek, but power plants,
Yeah.
coolers,
Yeah.
life support generator.
No life support.
We didn't. Yeah. So what did we? Weapons.
Weapons.
Well,
Yeah.
weapons we did agree on. Shield generators.
Shield generators are there.
Yeah. What am I missing? Am I missing something?
There's tractor beam.
The modules,
Yeah.
the subcomponents
blazes.
for the salvage heads, mining heads, refueling.
The refueling one's an interesting one. We probably won't get stats for that, but we will have them because there are some refueling changes. There will be some craftable refueling elements.
Yeah. So we are actively working on expanding our catalog.
I'm going to roll you back about the statement, all of the items will be craftable. I want to say most of the items.
Yeah, most of the. Did I say all?
You said all. You said all. But I know it's somewhere there's going to be some limited edition Vandal Cupid doll or something that we give out as a Alien Week thing or whatever, and somebody's like, "No, that was the only time you get that," or whatever. You know.
No, so it'll be very, very clear. So it's most of the items, not all of the items. That was a.
Things that affect gameplay. I think we can. I think we can probably commit to the things that affect gameplay.
That's absolutely the intent.
Yeah.
Like anything that affects gameplay that you would want to progress through the game. We want that to be craftable.
If you let me convert a Pico doll into a melee weapon, I can bludgeon people with, then now you got to make.
I'm sure you could convince somebody.
I miss?
Is there going to be a way to track what blueprints we have other than looking at the fabricator screen?
Yes. We're going to be adding an app to the Mobiglass so that you'll be able to see and manage all of your blueprints that you've collected, not only ones you've collected, but the ones that you could collect and the ones you can upgrade. And like it'll be a full featured app. It'll probably come out after we get the upgrading in place. So it's more of a feature effort, but it's definitely
Thank you for the follow.
we're working towards. So I want to point that out because there are a number of the questions that we received in the thread were all questions.
Thank you for the
a number of
follow.
questions
Name
questions that had answers already published on the day that the
wherever
crafting
you
guide
are.
is. So I want to encourage people to check out that crafting guide available on robertspaceindustries.com. You click a thing at the top, and then you click another thing, and then it's in there somewhere. So we got crafting weapons. A lot of the stuff that we're crafting, this first thing, is FPS related. Will we be able to craft weapon attachments that have different stats from their lootable counterparts?
There, it doesn't
So
echo
it's
as
actually
bad
like
now.
like
Holy
picking up an
cow.
answer from the
Terrible.
mining gadgets. It's like most of the items, or a lot of the items that we have, will be craftable. That includes also the attachments for weapons. So that means, though, that the attachments that we find right now,
That
in the engines,
echo
they
was
were already
awful.
a test bed for us because we used them back in the day to test. Actually, that was the first predecessor of our crafting efforts there, where we could try out, okay, what happens when we improve the stats on certain components and how does that affect the gameplay. And now that we have proven that, we can actually dial back a bit there. So it's still debatable of how much we want to dial back, if we even want to dial back, but crafting will definitely then also be a meaningful way of having components for your weapons that then affect the functionality of those.
All of crafting starts with a blueprint. You know, these are the things that determine what you can craft and whatnot. How many blueprints, not exact number, how many blueprints would you say that we added in 4.7?
There's probably websites that have data mined,
Right.
so I'm going to get this wrong. But I think there was
Promise me at least 300, but I know you exceeded that by a lot.
There was about 300 and something in missions, and then there was roughly about 1,000 that didn't manage to make it into missions, which were like tint variants.
And I know there are some still coming online. Next week we release 4.7.2 with a bunch of new missions for Nyx, and some of those missions reward new unique blueprints that aren't in the system right now. So you know, so some of the
Cool.
blueprints
New
that
blueprints
are in
next
the
week.
4.7 don't
Awesome.
come online until next week when 4.7.2 comes online.
Yeah, and we'll be adding blueprints pretty much constantly.
It's a neat reward because now you can conceivably add. Let's talk about how people get blueprints. How do you get blueprints right now?
At the moment, it's just missions. The plan is reputation. So when you reach a reputation milestone, you can get a blueprint. Datapads is a big one, so it will be a datapad that has a blueprint on it, and then you can download it, and that's a one-time download. Or you could
Sell it if
to
you've already
someone
got it.
else, gift it if you want to.
So just to add on that, it's a physical database
Yes.
that you can find.
Yeah.
So it's something that we can place in inventories, that we can place in in armor pieces from NPCs. So something that you can physically pick up.
Treasure hunters, a whole new treasure hunter profession of people who go out there and do contested zones and everything and collect blueprints to sell to other people.
Yeah, but as
That's sad.
Note there is they are one.
Kinda takes away from the fun of it.
The blueprint is then imprinted to whoever used the.
But I can see why they would do that.
Yeah, if you already found, if you already got the blueprint on the datapad, make sure that you make some money out of it, I would say.
There's also NPC shops, so more common stuff that we're not too bothered about there being an adventure to go and find, like a decoration. You could buy that blueprint in an NPC shop.
Would you ever consider a method of learning how to reverse engineer a blueprint from dismantling?
That sounds like fun.
If you dismantled 500 of the exact same gun, you probably figured out how to make it at this point?
There's no plan for that, but part of the upgrading, like learning the next tier of a blueprint, could include missions where you needed to do something like that. We definitely have been talking about that kind of process. It's one of the 2 or 3 main ways of like learning how to upgrade your blueprints that we've talked about.
Yeah, we called it research in the CitizenCon presentation, where we also had like other steps that you need to take to be able to figure out how to reach the next tier of the item that you own.
Let's talk about research a little bit, because that we touched on it during the crafting guide. I've mentioned now more times than I intended, but give me a little primer. Give me a short nickel version of what research is.
So items have different tiers. Default blueprint you get is tier 1, and then you can research it to tier 2. And tier 2 will require different materials. It'll have access to a different banding of stats, which are higher than tier 1. And in order to get to that tier 2, you have to complete the research task, which we kind of just alluded to would be do X, Y, Z, initiate your research. Once it's done, you've got access to tier 2. And then you can go to tier 3 for most items, and then ships go up to tier 5.
Right.
And the virtue of the different tiers is probably depending on the item. I'm trying to remember what the virtue. We had a long conversation about the virtue of the tiers. Yeah. What's the virtue of it having a tier 3 version of a rifle versus a tier 1?
Well, the main benefit.
There's another question on the list that alludes to this, but
let's do it now.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is that not only can you get more stats, but you can get more options. So there'll be a material that you can have either different types of or different qualities of that will provide
like side upgrades,
a trade-off between a buff and a debuff. So you can really lean into one stat that you really like if you want to. That's
okay. So not only the stats will get generally better if you increase the tiers, but in the highest tier and in the highest tiers, you will even be able to affect or focus on a certain stat with the downside of affecting another stat in a negative way.
Okay. So more like, you've done your GED and now you're focusing on a specific area, and you focus on your English degree and you forget how to do long form division, which is what happened to me.
Well, Chris is really interested in that kind of trade-off between a buff and a plus and a minus when you're crafting, having that choice. So even though we're planning to do that definitely for the higher tiers, since we want to start iterating on that earlier, we're going to try and come up with some examples of that before we get to the actual upgrading.
I'm volunteering you for work.
I've already been told.
Why are armor and weapon skins separate blueprints? Wouldn't it be better to have them work like ship paints?
It would. It really would. Yeah.
Next question.
No,
next question.
At the moment
That's funny.
where, if we want a
version
of a blue helmet,
next question.
New entity, and the red is like bound to that entity, and so in order to craft that red helmet, you need a blueprint for that red one specifically. That's not the long-term goal. The long-term goal is a paint-like system, but just the paints aren't physical. So it's like in a very British way, it's a digital license to apply the paint.
It's a nice way to work into that. They tax you if you want to watch TV here.
They do.
You don't just get to watch TV. Just buying a TV doesn't mean you get to watch TV here. You own a TV, but you don't get to watch it unless you pay the government a tax.
And they send you nasty letters if you don't.
They do.
Yeah, but they don't even
chase you up.
They don't even know your name. Like, resident, we will come for you. I'm like, you don't even know my name.
I've got a stack of those letters.
Come for you.
But yeah, the
I don't even
a proper tint system for characters and armors has been on the wish list for so long. It's one of those things where you can't work on everything all at once. And every time you do the priority call, there's something that just affects a few more people, or affects an actual gameplay element getting better. That's just a little more important every time. But hopefully, its time on the wheel will come someday, because I'm a big fan of Barbie dress up. There might be a more appropriate term for it, but I've always called it, like, I spend so much time in every MMO I ever play just focused on far more than I do in real life. Making sure that my character looks exactly how I want them to look, and stuff like that. So that has to extend from the armor to the weapons to the items, because it drives me crazy when I got a cool black and red thing, and I got a gun that's black and red, and I got the helmet black and red, and then I pull out a bright yellow tool. I'm like, no.
Yes.
You tell me, chat. Am I in the minority, or am I the only one? Drip or drown. There you go. Drip or drown. Are you planning to let players implement tags on cargo boxes for the inventory and tractor beam AR?
Please, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll be able to rename boxes, inventory boxes, cargo boxes, and so when you zap them with your tractor beam, it'll say the name of the box.
When's that coming, tomorrow?
I don't think it does, you know. No, I don't think tomorrow's the release date for that one.
Hey, the crafting guide. This is a question. I didn't bring it up. The crafting guide has a short blurb on salvage updates for crafting. Can you give us more details?
So salvage consists of two different or like methods of how you get or you convert the ship debris that you found into material. So one side is RMC, and right now I don't think we have any recipes making use of RMC, but
We don't yet, no.
in the future patches we will have blueprints that actually will make use of RMC. So RMC will be already used as a craftable material there. On the other side, with the disintegration of all the construction material, I forgot the name because this name is killing me every time I am sitting.
They're your
at this
names,
chair.
right?
Huh?
They're your names.
Yeah, they are my
Rubble.
names. No,
Rubble.
It's so the
Rubble, rock,
construction material
dust,
that you get from the disintegration
grit.
process. Right now you get the construction material. That was never the intent. We always wanted to make the materials that you get from disintegrating the ship being based off what the ship is actually made of.
Yeah.
So an example is if you find a Vendel ship, you get a Vendel material out of it. If you find the Gladios, you will get some GT alumnite, which is like the Aegis material from it. So you get like these processed materials in a certain quality, which the ships were made of, and then you can process them and reutilize them for the crafting process. So like everything that we dismantle, the goal is that this also applies in the larger scale, which is the disintegration of ships. So that means that the material that you basically recycle from them have the quality that they were made with. You lose the amount or some amount of the material, but at least the materials that it was made of, you can repurpose them with the quality that you found them in.
Yeah, and just a note on those, the Vandal materials, those will be exclusive to this collection method, so to speak. So there'll be like a high value in
The other way you can
salvaging
get
it,
them.
okay? Yep.
Yeah, cannot invade Vandal space just out of them. Yeah.
Well, not yet.
Spoilers.
Nice Milliway shirt. Thank you. Old heads might recognize this design. This design might look real familiar if you were in the project for years since 2014 and the very first work I did for the company.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't know what Milliways is, read a book. It's rude, but read a book.
No, it's not.
Will blueprints drop at boss fights? Will blueprints drop from boss fights at some point?
We touched on that briefly.
The pads would be
Data
great.
pads, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for 4.7 we did introduce, I might be throwing Elliot under the bus here. I think we introduced a couple missions for the Ormondi and the Apex Valakar. So there's boss fight-ish associated blueprints at the moment. But yeah, the blueprints will be the data pads and the blueprints will be the good use case there.
Yeah.
Associated with the missions that you can complete for boss fights, as well as the loot that you can collect around a boss fight. Yeah, we definitely plan on that.
Yeah.
The Apex Valakar is not in the game yet.
What's it called then? The Stormworm. I forget its like official lore name.
That's the. What is the
irradiated?
Irradiated Valakar, yeah. The Apex irradiated is in
Yeah,
there. But the Apex Sand Valakar, still waiting.
That is a very good thing.
I was just talking to Brian Canary about it. Yesterday though. He's still so excited about it. It's coming along.
It is really cool. Like we've changed up the fight a little bit.
I know we did this whole CitizenCon thing about it, and it's evolved so much since then. It's like,
We got something together that was playable. We tested it, and it wasn't good enough, so we made some changes. So that's how you make a better game.
heaven forbid.
Do try.
Will we be able to dismantle high quality NPC gear for the high quality materials?
I briefly touched on it with the dismantling of ships. It also applies to armor pieces that you find on NPCs.
Cool.
So the goal
I
is
like that.
if you find, like the average NPC will just run around with standard gear, right? But you will find like our so-called boss enemies or elites or however you want to call them, and they might be carrying like better armor or better weapons. And if you then change ownership of them towards you and you decide to dismantle them, we have them crafted in the background. So what you get from dismantling them is actually the higher quality material that they were supposed to be crafted with.
Yes, of course the radio show is better than the book. I mean, obviously. Except the book does get to fix a lot of things that were kind of problematic about the radio show, like Trillian disappears for the
What
entire
is he
second
talking
bit
about?
of the radio show. It's like this. But I've actually been, it's apropos of nothing, I've been secretly recording my own version of the radio show for like the last 3 months where I play all the characters for my daughter.
The Hitchhikers?
Yeah. So basically, when it comes time to introduce your hitchhikers, it's actually me doing every voice
Nice.
and whatnot. So she doesn't watch the show, so nobody tell her. Are blueprints for non-combat stuff planned?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, of course.
What are you going to be done deck?
To be fair, most of them are done. We've got
Where?
It is like, yeah, most of them are done.
hey, most of them are done, and then we go into review, and then
Yes.
they're not done.
And
so
then they are not done anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's to be fair to you, there's also quite a few non-combat ones that we don't have planned yet because like it's a different process, especially when it comes to food and drink.
Correct. Yeah. There's some non-combat stuff coming in, like the quantum drives, but like Rick says, there's a bunch more that we'll still add in.
I've been doing this show for a better part of a decade, a little more than a decade. And there has never been a piece of truth uttered more succinctly than, well, all of it's done, and then it goes to review, and then it's not done. Like, that's game development. That's game development. I thought it was done. Well, nobody else in that room did. Or those two people didn't, and you have to, you synthesize the opinions, and you go back and you try. It's just this constant iteration before you release, then after you release. You keep going with a live service game. It's just, lots of things are done until they get to review.
You do see the progress as you develop it. It's definitely worth it. So,
with the plan of gear degrading over time and only having a limited amount of repairs until it is no longer usable, how do you ensure this game does not become a maintenance simulator? And I'm gonna go get a drink.
yeah.
Drink.
Take your time.
So it's something that I think we brought up in different conversations several times at this point. So we talked about that when we talked about engineering. I think we talked about that even last time when I think Elliot and I were sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
So degradation is, or every system that we do is never meant to like annoy people. We want players to enjoy playing our game, and that also means that we have to be very conscious about some decisions that we take. Degradation is one of those decisions where we are very conscious about that. If we do it wrong, we can be very impactful in your everyday gaming life. So
Yeah.
what we do here is that we still want degradation to play a big part in our game because it's a way of us having you exchange components, taking care of components, taking care of your equipment so that they degrade slower and the functionality is reduced in a slower rate than normally they would be. But we also want to make sure that there is a floating economy. And like in real life, at some point,
Right.
the laptop that you own will not be as performant anymore as it is right now. So
Too late.
It's thanks to capitalism, you want to buy a new one because you need a faster PC. And we need a similar system in our game because we need a thriving economy, and a thriving economy you get by people buying things. And in our case, one of the levers that we have there is actually the degradation, because it is like the degradation impacts the functionality. So the older your item gets, the less functionality it will have. We will give you opportunity to, as stated, to, like if you treat it well, the functionality ratio will, or the degradation process is slower, so the functionality will remain longer. We will also give you ways to sometimes, in rare occasions, be able to restore some of the functionality of the item. We will make use, for example, of the crafters that you have, where you basically can repair that, which might be more sustainable for the component than putting your multi-tool onto it and repairing it. So it might be a good choice to use the crafting repair functionality over the hand tool repair functionality. But overall, at some point, everything has to go. And you have to replace. So because that then introduces you crafting new components, maybe even better components. So there is like, there's some interesting mechanics behind that. But there's also like the things, we are very, very aware that sometimes you have this one item that you don't want to lose. So we also want to make sure that we tailor towards those things that you will not lose it.
Right. You know, you do all that work to earn Ashbringer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want it to break.
Yes. And just to give a very, very concrete example, because we have been working on that actually for quite some time now.
Ashbringer?
Yes. Finally. No, it's the degradation cycle, because we have been like very vague with all the numbers, but it's more like we are talking about game sessions, and a concrete example, it's not signed off, it's just me giving you a sneak peek of what we have been discussing. Is so we are talking for a power plant about a week, maybe 1 week and a half of usage, full usage. That means you have the time using it until it reaches zero functionality. So you basically have to replace it.
You say things like, I have to interject. Are you saying a week of game time or a week of real life time with you not logged in?
No, it's play time. So you playing actively, using the component gradually, so it is not even, so the component is not resting, the component is not turned off, the component is on an average use case throughout a week and a half.
So more than 150 hours before you have to.
Yes.
Well,
so
let's not give exact numbers.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
But like the high level intent is that it's not something that you're going to have to deal with every play session. It's a long-term mechanic.
Yeah, Ebun's Crux, first time chatter, hey, welcome to the chat, said, just don't do it like this other game that I'm not going to slag off. I can't do more than 2 hours of gaming without repairing all my gear 20 times. I don't know how prone to hyperbole they are, but that's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I remember.
And like I said, the number that I gave is just a very, very rough number. It doesn't go through any iterations yet. Yeah. But also, like, this is like the extreme, right? We're talking about 100% functionality versus 0% functionality. There are degradation bits in between that we hope actually increase like interesting games.
Remember, he said this design isn't signed off. It's just what he's currently working on. And again, it's one of the things. It's done, and then it goes to review, and then a bunch of people have voices, and you make changes. Then it goes to PTU. Then a bunch of people, give feedback, and then it's changed, and it goes to live, and then even more people give feedback, and then it's a process. It continues to go. But I think we're keenly aware of it. I remember when we were about to introduce thirst and hunger and player, I can't think of the word right now, but everything, player injuries and stuff. And everybody was like, oh my God, I'm going to spend all my time drinking pips and dealing with hydration and stuff like this. And even if it is a bit overwhelming when it goes out, whatever that is, that's what continual balance is for. That's what this process of running an open, a live environment in the middle of our development is for, so that we can get this data in real time. We have our ideas, then we can test them, and then we can have better ideas and change them. And that's, it's been proven out in the process. So I understand the knee-jerk reaction to degradation being this terrible, terrible thing, but I've known the people here for a long time.
Get it too.
I know what your intents are. I know what what drives you guys. I'm not worried. Even if it's too severe, like that damn boom tube thing.
Boom tube
is ridiculous, Zach.
He will be watching.
You need to tune that thing. You need to bring it.
No.
I had a chat with him about
It's a
that.
little.
There he is.
There he is. He's in chat.
No.
That boom tune is.
Boom too good.
That's the process.
Jared, be quiet.
Is this overpower? I don't know. Let's put it in. Let's see. Oh.
You're throwing Chris under the bus. I like it.
You can see Chris in the chat.
So it's like I say, we continue to tweak and twerk, and I don't twerk. Torsten twerks though.
No.
What? We got time for a couple more. Is there a plan to provide high-level design briefs for major feature releases to help bridge the gap between initial implementation? As mentioned several times in the show, we did. Now, not as detailed as we used to. This person might be referring to ye old days where we would write up this entire thing about what we did. We did a design brief on Mixmaster. We did a design brief on an entire game loop about how to make drinks for NPC passengers and keep them happy, whatever. And the reality of development is that so many things have changed since then. Systems have changed, people have changed, we've all grown, and it's just the likelihood that document is anything remotely accurate is, you don't need me to make a comment on it. You should be able to tell.
Yeah,
So
you should be able to
we moved
draw a
away from
conclusion.
full-on design briefs like that because all too often it just led to disappointment. Because again, we ended up changing it because we had to, because of some technical limitation, or changing it because somebody new joined the team and came up with a better idea. And it's like, well, no, we're not going to stick with the old idea if it's not as good. We want to do the new idea. But now we've changed. You didn't do what you said you were going to do and stuff, even though it's something we believe is better. So we did move away from those old, super detailed design briefs of yore, and maybe that's what they're referring to. But we have made an effort for this last year to update things like the mining guide and the salvage guide and the crafting guide and the medical guide and the cargo guide and stuff like this, and make a lot of our intentions known, make a lot of our philosophies known, and give a glimpse at the future of where this feature is going, as like we did with medical and like we did with crafting lately. So engineering. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there is that effort. It won't be as detailed as it was back in old days.
We have those big new features that we want to explain to people as best we can, especially since we're going to be iterating on them and we don't want to do in-game versions of those tutorials yet. We want to have those available for people.
Yeah. And then, of course, we do shows like this, where we talk to the designers and we explore their intentions and what their struggles are and stuff like that. I asked you how you were feeling about crafting. How are you feeling about inventory right now?
It's
Be real. Sorry, you can be real.
yeah. It has improved features. So proximity loot is very nice. You can take the 1SU store roll with you, and you can just hoover up the loot as you go. It needs to be snappy though. It needs to interact like quickly. It needs to be instant. So we're aware of that, and we are proud of the features that it's gone out with, and we are continuing to work on the interactivity and the responsiveness.
Don't blame them.
Yeah, it's nice to see an improvement to the inventory system. It's frustrating to see some of the things that we wanted to get fixed that didn't make it into the build. It's frustrating to see some of the performance limitations.
That always is, guys.
Yet, but we're actively working on it. It'll continue to get better.
Anything in 4.8 you can point to might help?
That's a when question.
4 wide?
No, dude.
Yeah, true, actually.
I'll tell you when 4.8 comes out. It comes out in the middle of May.
It sounded like will this feature?
Uh-oh.
Is there something? Is there work in 4.8?
There is. So it can be quite hard to see the icons. So we are going from 5 across the top on a row to 4 across the top on the row, and
so did you make the icons bigger? Or?
Yes, just the whole thing scaled up as far as the inventory icon. And then not in 4.8, but related to that is we will have the support for widescreen for dynamically sizing the inventory panels, and you'll have the option to scale up and down the icons yourself. And if
Oh.
you scale them all the way down, they just turn into a text list instead of a series of icons. It's just a text list.
Is the scaling in 4.8?
No.
Okay, that's why I had to ask.
Well, yeah, I said not for 4.8
Okay,
widescreen.
I missed that part. I heard being able to scale your icons, and I was like,
Most of them probably heard that as well.
okay,
Yeah.
but
Nice.
For 4.8, we went with the larger
4.8 we get the
icons.
larger.
Yeah, just to make it more visible, and then the scaling is coming, and also like the improvements to like the actual rendering of those icons.
Right, you mentioned improving the lighting.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
stuff like that. What about the rotation? So some of them I feel go a little too fast to tell what they are.
Too fast?
I don't know.
So we have the rotation of the icon within the inventory box.
Yeah.
And if they're broken, that's my fault because I set those up.
Okay.
So
maybe I'm just
maybe they will be fixed. And there's a couple of changes.
Send
going on.
Declan an email.
maybe
Yeah.
I'm just slow.
I did. Don't tell Ian this, but I put the undersuits. I put the undersuits the wrong way around, so they're facing arse front.
Oh my.
Two more questions and we're done. Why aren't there any backpack blueprints?
Oh.
In 4.7, they'll be there in 4.8.
Oh, so those will be in 4.8.
Yes.
So some more non-combat.
Yeah, that's true. Backpack doesn't shoot.
and so what are the stats of backpacks?
Well, no, to be fair, they won't have stats.
Okay.
Eventually, they would. Stuff like weight. But yeah, it's just nice to craft your own backpack, so we're adding that blueprint in.
Okay. And last question, because I don't know the next time we're going to get to talk about this topic. What do you want to say to people? You know, it's now been out there for a couple weeks now, about a month. I'm not. Nobody's ever looked at Jared and said he knows what day it is. What do you want to say to people about crafting and inventory today?
I think we're very proud of it, and we love the feedback we receive. You know, it's great seeing like people interact with it, and we'll continue to iterate, continue to build upon it. It's nice to see. It's a big feature. It's going to be a long-running feature, so we're excited to have it out.
Okay.
Get out there and try it if you haven't. Start playing with it. Give it your feedback because we're going to be working on it actively for quite a while, and there's a lot more features to come and a lot more iteration to come, and I'm really excited about where it's going.
It made friends of mine play mining, even though they don't like mining. So
Yeah, really.
So it definitely had
Yeah, I
some
get that.
attractiveness to people.
And see, you touched on something, but it brought people who weren't going to try one game loop to try a game loop. And and that is how you make a successful MMO personally. You know, not just that alone, of course, but inviting people and making it encouraging to them to step outside their comfort zones and explore all the different aspects of a game or how games thrive and live. Like the ability, I was thinking about this earlier, like all the ways blueprints. There are going to be people who just chase blueprints.
And they already are.
Like, oh no, you showed me a list of 350 things. I have to collect all 350 and whatever. And you can set these blueprints across missions for all manner of gameplay. And people can try medical for the first time if they've never done that. People can try salvage for the first time if they've never done that. I mean, it's systems like this are ones that truly touch every single aspect of the game. And if we do it right and we make it fun and it works, then it always has to work. The opportunity there to bring players to more aspects of the game are just fantastic. Blueprints and crafting have been the most exciting feature aspect for me in a long time. Like, this is a big year for me. The biggest feature for me is crafting, and the biggest content for me is tactical strike groups. Waiting for this thing. So the fact that we've started this journey with crafting now,
Have you played it?
the fact that I sit on the playthroughs. I sit on the playthroughs.
Good.
To say that I am a bad pilot is an understatement. I have peripheral neuropathy.
Lol.
It twitches every once in a while and stuff like that. You know how people like blame their controllers? No, I blame my own hands and whatever. So I'm
Fair.
not good with anything that requires a lot of fine control, unfortunately. And flying through the trench run and racing the distortion and whatnot. I'm like, nope, not. I'm happy just watching. I'm happy just watching, and relishing in the enjoyment of other people. So having that crafting journey start, in 4.7, having tactical strike groups start in 4.8. It's a really exciting time for the project. Have we gone live to PTU yet, or Ivocati?
Friday.
Have we told them the tactical strike groups is in 4.8? Oh. No. Well, tactical strike groups is in 4.8. It's super cool. Get into PTU when that goes live.
It's been cool seeing people become better pilots just doing some of those runs.
Jared, why did you stop? You wanted to say a third thing about the Battlecruiser? Did I want to say something about the Battlecruiser? What more would I say that a portfolio update and a Galactipedia update haven't already done?
Say what?
All right, so that's
Oh.
Star Citizen Live. Torsten's looking at me, he has no idea. That's it for Star Citizen Live.
So it is
Thanks for
confirmed.
watching.
It is the Odin.
No show next week.
Anvil Odin.
Yeah, no show next week. We're actually doing a pre-tape for some other stuff that we got to do, but we'll be back the week after that as we head into the most exciting time of the year, May, and our big ship showcase and
Big ship showcase.
Big ship showcase. And that's my ironclad guarantee. All right, take it easy, everybody. I'm Jared. That's Rick, Declan, Torsten. See you later, everybody. Take care. Bye.
You just flubbed it, Jared. Great job. Great job, Jared. Yeah, great job. Okay. Well, I think he meant to do that, but oh well. We're going to watch one more and then we're going to play. The actual whole B video.
The Hull B is our premium medium freight ship in the universe. It's capable of carrying a significant amount of cargo between stations within a system or across multiple solar systems.
It sits between the Hull A, which is kind of your entry into the cargo hauling profession, and the Hull C, which is kind of big, serious interstellar cargo hauling runs.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of scaling and role, the Hull B is closer to the Hull A in terms of gameplay flow and mechanics, without the challenges of the more complicated setup and flow of the Hull C.
When you first look at the Hull B, you definitely notice a MISC ship. MISC is a high-end industrial manufacturer. It's a very clean art style. Visually, you kind of got these really large, clean, panelled, kind of bulbous shapes.
Think about the aesthetic of the 50s and bring it to a more futuristic.
You've got these really large, heavy-duty landing gear. You can clearly see it being built to take a lot of weight.
And then move along the top, and there's some really nice detail, some nice ribbing where the remote turret sits. Continuing along the top, there's a nice spoiler towards the rear.
When you see this ship collapse, it feels almost like a little shuttle that could fly about. But then as you start to look at the back, you've got these massive engines on the rear of it, and then that gives you a bit of a visual indication that maybe there's something a bit more to the ship than what you see at first glance.
Much like the rest of the Hull series, it has a compacting and extending spindle in the center section that allows the ship to have a smaller silhouette and shape when not carrying cargo, and then expanding out to carry the maximum amount of cargo.
Yep.
It's quite a marvel of engineering in how much spindle and cargo grid we've managed to fit into such a small space when it's collapsed.
It holds 512 SCU of cargo, up to 1632 SCU crates. You can either load the cargo manually with handheld tractor beams, or the co-pilot has access to 2 front-facing remote tractor beam turrets in order to load cargo
from within the vehicle. External cargo has the great benefit that it is by far the quickest to load and unload. You can simply rock up to a location and then use the tractor beams on the ship to attach and detach cargo, rather than having to thread these larger, especially the 32 SE containers, through restricted doorways at the back of ships. So you have to be smart about where you use the Hull B. It's quick to load, but also if you find yourself in a tricky situation, it's very quick for someone else to unload it for you. When it was first announced, it was promised to be able to land with its full capacity of cargo. However, over time, the cargo system changed, the design of ships have changed. And when you look at the Hull A and the Hull C, they have a sort of cross arrangement, and doing this for the Hull B and the stated amount of cargo that we had said at the start, it just simply couldn't land without having the most comical, super long, gangly legs. So from that point onwards, we went back to concept, had multiple iterations of different cargo arrangements to suit the new capacity, and we settled on moving from the cross arrangement to rotating it 45 degrees into the X arrangement you see today.
And it still looks really good when it's opened or closed, but it's still able to hold all of its cargo when landed.
Right.
The Hull B is great in that you can load it from both within hangars and external freight elevators. And then in the future, we want to allow you to be able to also use the facilities of docking, so you can truly load it from anywhere with any sort of cargo.
Good.
Another advantage of the Hull B compared to, say, the Caterpillar, which has a very similar amount of cargo capacity, is the Caterpillar is a large hangar and the Hull B is a medium. So you have more access to locations to land throughout the universe, being that there are more medium hangars in general than large.
You walk into the entrance area, which has our 2 suit lockers, a weapon locker, and a small bench to prepare yourself for leaving the ship. Coming up the personnel lift, to your left is a door to engineering. This houses most of the major components for the ship and the engineering screen.
Center stage in there is the big mechanism that allows the ship to retract and extend its cargo grid.
Heading to your right from the personnel lift, you walk into the main corridor. This is the main thoroughfare of the ship. This also houses some of the other components. To one side is a mess hall.
You have a 2-seat table and a kitchenette.
On the opposite side of the corridor is the habitation area.
When you get in, you have like a bunk bed on your left, nice desk with its fridge and some shelves. You also have on the right space on the wall to hang up posters, and then the bathroom door.
As you enter into the bridge of the ship, as soon as you walk in, you know you're in a MISC ship. I know the MISC dashboards can be a little bit divisive. Maybe
they can
on
be.
some of our previous ships, we maybe pushed the size of the dashboard a little bit too far, so it was something that we were quite conscious of with the Hull B. But we have pushed the pilot and the co-pilot seat further forward, so you're kind of sat more into that letterbox, just to give you better visibility out.
Very happy with the Hull B. I think it's a great ship. Looking forward to seeing lots of them populate the verse.
The ship is for those people who are more serious about cargo, who are those people who need maybe slightly more cargo space than a raft, for example.
I think it really is that sweet spot between cargo capacity and size.
Okay, so if I need to update my game before I can play tonight, See if it works. Might not work. Occurred to me. Optimizing shaders. Yep. All right. Shaders are optimizing. Do I have any sound? There we go. Okay, that's really weird. Is it picking up the sound? Okay, that worked. Cool. The first time I've had sound in a long. Having to let this silly thing load. Had to make a character. Yeah, let's wait until the fader. Okay, here we go. All right, what do we got? All right, we are loaded. Okay, here's my. By the way, Chad, I worked on this armor. Actually, I modified it. They got cold, heat. It's stronger than the average armor. Recharge. It's stronger than standard. refining. Go to the refinery.
Clear Bay 3.
Alright. I need... Attachment. Get a... yeah. No. Grant one of these. There we go. Mining mod. We're gonna get, what is it called? XDR and Volt. And a now. How to focus this. Hit the torque and then focus it. Right. Right. That one we need. Get out of here.
I need someone from maintenance to get the ventilation control. Ping me when you get there.
Iron. You just have some. Come on. Over here, taking a long time. Kind of odd. Hey, bud. Oh. So, I look at Perfect. Alright, so we're going to
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Your insurance claim has been sent. Thank you.
okay. See if I can even go to it. How full? Got a medium hanger. Good. Alright. So, I want to check something real quick. What blueprints I have. Oh, a Jeep. This is my current fabricator. What have I built? My current items I can make. Much. Basic stuff. Some new stuff. Great. Interesting. Fundamental. Okay, I can make relatively good color. That's actually pretty good for color. I have 941 Dolby. Incredible. Walk away from it. That might become my new favorite weapon. What? Then store it.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Your vehicle has been delivered to Place Visitors again.
All right. Go somewhere. Not going far. A few minutes of mining.
Launch complete. Landing gear up.
know. I have no idea. Pretty high still, other than the moon. Know for a fact we're still. And nobody. Alright. I didn't want to pull out my big one. Anyway, Chad, have any of you experimented with crafting yet? I have a bit here and there. It's pretty interesting, I'll put it that way. Is it 100% awesome? I wouldn't say that, but it does leave me wanting more. For what it can be. Can you hear the surface yet? Nope. We're near the We must have really been far away from you know what? There we go. That's better. What do we got? I scanning this? Huh. What's going on here? Okay, this is gonna work. A laser. Yep, it is. Again, Analax syndrome. This is frustrating as hell. They're not even here. These rocks look like they're here, but they're not. They're not even showing up on radar. That's messed up. And worms. What's this? Philippi. You can actually read that. Funny. Yeah, but let's look for something a bit different. Okay. That's goofy. Worms. Apparai. What are these stupid sandworms? Crying out loud. Can't even hit it with the ship. Grisham, Oregon. Even on radar? Let's see it. There it is, yes. Or not. Maybe they weren't. But we're about to find out. Scan it. Why are you going through the rock? Hey, that is so dumb. Like the rock. Is this a glitch or something now? I don't even know what this is. might. I don't know. Not working for some. Makes me go get a different mining. I think Daymar is bugged. Honestly, Chad. I think Daymar itself is bugged. Whole moon. Something about this moon is just bugged. Hell. See if I can pick up this rock. Like it's not even there. That is so goofy. Alright, let's try a different note. Piston right here. No. Why is everything a big freaking fever?
Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off. Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off. Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off.
Alright, we're gonna try a different moon. One I haven't been to in a while.
Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off. Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off.
How's silicon? Even scan this stuff? Why can't I scan this? Okay, what's going on? Laserhead is not working. Okay, I'm getting really annoyed. This is the second moon I've been to. Nothing has worked. Nothing has worked. So I wonder if I alt. Nope. Okay. Well, this is frustrating. Has anyone else run into this problem? Seriously, this is... I don't know what's going on. Check anything? Touch it? Like, hold on. I can detect this, but will my laser hit it? Yes. Okay. This I can detect. Okay. Hephaestonite. What level? Okay. That's really good. raw silicon is used for. This upgrade. Probably not great. pretty good quality. 5 something. Frustrating when you can't find good ground line. Look at it as a collection. These are cool. Kind of awesome. What ones we got? 500 X92. Not too bad to make 6 bales. Not much for anything else. One more and then scoop. Good for some ability. Yeah, that one's getting sold. Terrible quality. That's some terrible quality right there. Yeah, that's this. Yep. Just a second, chat. What? That sucks. Just a second, chat. Okay. No. I guess. Alright. Let's lift off.
Engines online. Launch complete. Landing gear up.
Well, we are near an ASD facility. Dumb. Get out of here. Anybody fine. Didn't even know there was a freaking ASD facility. I mean, I could hear the music, but I didn't realize there was an actual. Might as well accelerate a bit.
Shield system offline. Shield system online.
Words. Go, there's a bit of color key. Now, okay, that's a bit of a better ROM. Get two more, including this one. Couple of 460s. Okay, so I got some stuff to sell, but not much else, right? So head back, base, server thing. Now, I'm hungry. And eat something.
Engines online. Launch complete.
be on the far side. Hold
Landing gear down.
the ship in front of mine. What the absolute thunder? Get the f out of here. Some bozo parked their ship in my hangar.
Engines offline.
Whose ship is this? What in the absolute thunder? Oh, it's gone now. That was weird. Yeah, that was officially the weirdest thing I've seen this week. Okay. I'm gonna call it, chat. Fine. Anyways, chat, thanks for hanging out. 07. Appreciate y'all.